Hey everyone, a number of you have been asking me about the whole PlayStation trial for the 30% charge that PlayStation charges, studios and publishers when they put their game on. So when you buy a game on the PlayStation Store, the studio takes 70% and Sony take 30%. Well, the CMA has basically taken them to court over this, which is a little weird that they're only taking PlayStation, but this will have a much bigger impact across the plane as we have it. Epic is the only one that charges, I believe, 12%, so they're not really in this, but Steam, Xbox, all of them will feel the repercussions of this answer. And we finally have at least some movement on this. I know a number of you have asking me, is there any update to this? And we finally have some. So as we can see here, the CMA have set a date. They are taking a case about the 30% that PlayStation and more take. Effectively, the tax, that money that they make, publishers obviously increase their price to try and recover some of that 30% through the consumers. At the end of the day, it's companies like PlayStation and Xbox and Steam, they're just basically taking 30% for hosting the game. They're not really doing anything. They're just hosting the game on their servers and getting 30% of the purchase price of that game. Now we have a comment from this here. It has been a busy summer and we wanted to update you on the latest news. We have a date for the trial. The Cat Tribunal has ordered the trial will start on the 2nd March 2026. Now obviously if it was Microsoft being sued instead of being taken to court instead of PlayStation, this would have happened probably a couple months ago. But because it's PlayStation and the CMA loves to protect Sony, this is now being pushed away for quite some time. Now the trial is scheduled to last 8 weeks, so it's a solid 2 months. And hopefully, I am actually in favor of the CMA here winning. And I do hope that the CMA win. I don't believe that companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Steam, Origin or whatever platform that you have, should be taking 30%. Now, I do feel like they should be taking like a 10% or maybe 12%. Or at maximum 15%. 30% is a huge chunk. There are server costs, there are other issues, cost factors that needs to be covered by these platforms. So taking a nominal percentage, I think, is fine. But 30% is huge, and I've always said this is wrong. At the time, Epic Game Store offered Gabe, reduce the percentage that you charge your publishers, and I will shut down the Epic Game Store. And Gabe was like, no, I like money. And Epic Game Store is still open. Because obviously he didn't fear Epic Game Store because PC users don't use Epic Game Store. Now some of you may wonder why it's not sooner. Trial dates are set bearing in mind the time it takes each of the parties to share evidence, expert reports, and prepare their cases, and the availability of the core, and the fact that we need to protect PlayStation. Because if we were taking Microsoft to court, then we would have definitely been a lot more faster with this. We would have hired more people, and we would have definitely done... The narrative changes really quick when it's Microsoft. You saw how things were turning when the actual ABK case was going on. We're working really hard, no you're not, as there's a lot to do to get ready for the trial. Now I hope that they actually do win this one. All jokes aside with the whole Microsoft and Xbox thing and Sony PlayStation thing, I actually do want the CMA to win here, because I do believe that taking 30%, because what's happening here is that 30% that's being taken, that's then being pushed over to the consumer. You've got X, right? Twitter on mobile apps. They charge 30%. So this will affect all mobile games, all mobile everything. That 30% that they take, X then says, right, we're going to put that 30% on and make the consumer pay it, because we're not prepared to pay. We're not prepared to take that hit. And other companies do the same. It's wrong that something that's out of the consumer's control is then being turned around and punished on the consumer. And so this is why I want this to win. I want those prices to get, if they take a 15% hit instead of a 30% or a 12% or a 10%, and that's what's legally defined as what they can do, maybe at that point we can see those 70, 80 pound games start to come down. Obviously, you're going to get companies like 2K who are going to still want to price gouge, and at that point I'm hoping the CMA steps in again and then looks at these type of situations again, because they are being anti-consumer. Now they're getting more money. They shouldn't be now making the consumers pay even more money. They should at least reduce that price, because at the end of the day, their job is to protect the consumer, not the corporations, which is what they've been doing for the past 3-4 years, especially in the gaming sphere. They have not been protecting consumers. They have not been protecting the gamers. They have been protecting organizations, which is absolutely wrong. But that said, I think that this can actually turn out to be something really good. We're not going to hear anything else until 2nd of March 2026. The trial is going to last for 2 months, and hopefully we'll get a resolution that's in favor of the consumer, in favor of the gamer. Because when these prices go down and game prices go down, it means that we can buy more games and these companies make more money. It's that simple. When you're paying 80, 90 quid for a game, you don't buy every game. Your spending, your expenditure goes down because you can't afford to constantly pay 80, 90 quid for a game. And that's the problem now. And with games like GTA 6 threatening to cost up to £200, and I know people will pay for it, it's going to set a bad precedent. We've already seen the PS5 Pro come out at £700 where they actually make a profit on the hardware. That, and if, it's selling. I know it's not sold out, probably because they've got a lot of stock and the price is too high, but regardless, it'll be interesting to see how many it's sold. And if it's sold well, that will set a precedence for next gen. When the Xbox Series X2 and the PS6 come out, don't expect it to be any less than £800, because people were willing to pay for it, or they just wanted it and they're going to buy it. And if enough sell, it sets a precedence, because they will charge you whatever it is. So I'm hoping the CMA and the FTC step in for that, to at least keep things a little bit regulated. But at this point, this is the first step, and I hope they win it. Anyway, that's all we have for this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I will see you in the next one. As always, remain legend.